Hi, I'm Tawanda Ewing, and this is Mindful, a series where I draw from science, engineering, and personal experiences to give you an interesting perspective on everyday life. I hope you enjoy it, and let me know what you think in the comments. These days, it seems like artificial intelligence is everywhere. And there's a whole lot of fear going around about how artificial intelligence is going to come and replace human beings in every aspect and just straight up take all our jobs. But, you got to ask yourself, how do I stay relevant as a human being in this new world that seems to be coming inevitably? And I think the solution to that is we need to stay relevant through improving our skills. And the only way to actually improve your skills is through learning. The irony in it is that machines or artificial intelligence seem to be adapted to learning so much so that they outperform human beings at it. So why not look at how machines or artificial intelligence actually learns and try and apply it to how we learn? And maybe we can find out something that, was kind of in front of us the whole time, but we never really thought about it. Now, what is AI or artificial intelligence? The name pretty much defines it. It's the idea of taking something that's not necessarily natural and applying an intelligence aspect to it. Now, in this case specifically, we're trying to make machines or computers intelligent. To have an appreciation of how amazing and useful AI is, you need to have a little background on how computers are programmed. Now, in the past, if you wanted to program a computer to do a certain task, you'd have to explicitly write code to explain every single step of the process. Now, if you made a mistake in that code, the computer would mindlessly execute that mistake and you wouldn't notice until it was too late. Now, with artificial intelligence, we only need to define the task, and then the machine learns using examples how to actually do it. So in all this AI magic, whatever you want to call it, that's going on, there's something very particular, or there's a very particular subset of AI that's actually responsible for all this buzz you've been hearing lately. And that subset is called deep learning. Now, what's so special about deep learning is that it's capable of doing human level tasks in a way that we've just never seen before. The best way to understand how deep learning actually works is with an example. And the simplest example I can give you is one of a feed-forward neural network. Now, a feed-forward neural network is made up of an input layer, hidden layers, and an output layer that are all fully connected. The term deep learning is actually a reference to the amount of hidden layers we have in our neural network. So for instance, a deeper neural network would have more hidden layers. Each layer in our neural network is made up of a basic building block known as the perceptron. And a perceptron is inspired by the way neurons work in our brain. It basically takes in an input, processes it, and then gives an output, which is passed on to the next perceptron. And this pattern goes on and on until we get to our output layer. Now, I'm sure you've heard of the concept of neural pathways hardening in your brain. This basically implies that as we get older or as we gain more experience in doing a certain thing, the neurons in our brain become hardwired in a certain way that the more you do something, eventually it becomes like second nature. You don't even think about it, because you realize, oh, this is what I have to do, and then neurons just fire like that and they get the task done. Something interesting to note about deep learning and feed-forward neural network is this concept of the larger the network is, the more complex it becomes, and the more capable it is to do difficult tasks. So the only limit to us being able to accomplish something is actually how big or how complex we can make our network, and the amount of examples we have available to train the network. So hypothetically speaking, if you had an infinite amount of examples and a complex enough neural network, you would actually be able to perform any human level task, which is what professionals around the world are pursuing. So constantly improving the networks and constantly finding more and more data to train the networks on. Now, I would like to argue that we already have one of the most powerful neural networks in existence, which is our brain. And in a weird way, we already go through this learning process without actually sitting down and consciously thinking about it. Something to remember about neural networks is that they really suck at performing these tasks when they start. I mean, the feed-forward neural network that's designed to label images as cats or dogs will make a number of mistakes when it starts, but slowly but surely it begins to improve and its error begins to reduce. So why is it that as humans, when we're trying to learn something, we almost feel this need to instantly become a professional at it? You know, we don't really think about it, but we do it all the time. For example, when I was trying to learn about artificial intelligence, or actually I'm still learning about artificial intelligence, I find myself getting frustrated just because I don't understand the concept. But ever since I learned about how deep learning networks actually work, I have this process where I constantly remind myself, like, wait a minute, you can't be a professional from the start. You're gonna have to give it time. If you spend enough time in something, you will eventually figure out how you should be doing it. So you won't know that your method of learning isn't working unless you actually spend like a couple of days trying to do it, and then you realize, like, wait a minute, this isn't actually helping me. Maybe I should change how I'm doing it. So what's important, you notice, is actually just the time you're putting into something. If you look at learning as a function of how much time you spend doing something, you realize that maybe we're just like these neural networks, where given enough time and examples to learn, we can actually learn anything. I'm sure you've also heard about the 10,000 hours to become a professional at something, right? It's funny how they already mention just the time. They don't tell you about how to do it or what you need to do to do it. They just tell you, okay, spend 10,000 hours and you will become a professional. It's sort of crazy to think about that, right? That all I have to do is continuously spend time on something, realize or be mindful of the fact that I will suck at it, right? And as I go on and the more time I spend, I will become better at it. It's a very nice guarantee to have. So the next time you're trying to learn something new, don't get disheartened when you don't understand what you're looking at. Because just tell yourself, hey, I'm not a professional, so of course I'm not going to get it. Let me spend some more time on it, and eventually I will get it. So power through it, go through the scrub phase, go through the beginner phase, and then that's the only way you'll get to the professional phase. No one wakes up and becomes a professional overnight. Not even machines can do that. And the way we rave about artificial intelligence, you'd think it was that amazing, but it's not. Even AI has to spend the time being a beginner for it to become a professional to the point where it comes and takes your job. But let's not worry about that for now. You worry about your skills and how you can constantly improve yourself. Because let's be honest, AI has got nothing on this neural network in your brain. So make good use of it.
This video was brought to you by Umoja Urban Culture. Umoja Urban Culture is a store based in South Africa that specializes in Rasta wares and accessories. For more information, you can visit the store website at www.umojaurbanculture.co.za.